Mr. Bob Olson, I'm sorry, your card's stuck to the one ahead of it, so please come up now. And Mr. Olson will be followed by Esther Espinoza.
Mayor and members of council, I am a multi-term BWP board appointee. The electric fund and water fund budgets have been unanimously recommended for council approval by the BWP board. I mention this in order to draw your attention and the attention of the public to utility governance and to the utility city charter provisions. The current budget includes rate increases of 2.9% for electric and 7.75% for water. It's charter policy that when it comes to rates, the general manager is to present his rate report to the board and the council before a rate resolution is adopted. For the public record, the current budget has been subject to board review at 3 separate meetings, starting with a draft presentation in February, followed by city manager and city council scrutiny. The budget line items and rate assumptions have been challenged by board members, and the board has focused on whether the proposed rate increases meet the utilities revenue requirements as spelled out in the charter with the least ratepayer impact. The proposed BWP electric rate increase is modest compared to our neighboring utilities. Others are facing the same legislative mandates, reduced electric sales, and increased renewable energy costs, but their needs for electric rate increases are much greater, 2 to 3 times what BWP is proposing for the coming budget year. BWP is recognized for being well run, and its history over the last decade of governance and management planning practices stacks up as superior. Mayor Gordon, during the council discussion in April on your agenda item, questions regarding various airport-related documents, you attempted to call out then Mayor Gable Luddy for not recognizing, and I quote, "A comment from a member of the public is different from a comment from the mayor of the city." Back at you, Mayor Gordon. Despite the unassailable fact that adding renewable energy is state law, as recently as the council budget study session, you let it be known publicly that the renewable energy mandate causing electric rates to rise is not acceptable to you. In my opinion, as mayor, you should consider leaving further comments opposing the state law mandating renewable energy to members of the public. By your admission, such comments can have an undue influence coming from the mayor, especially when made in advance of a public hearing culminating in a council vote. Mayor Gordon, I have been in this chamber at budget time every year you've been on council. You have voted against adopting the annual citywide budget each of those years. You've explained before that you would not vote to adopt a budget that includes any utility rate increases, despite well-documented evidence as to the justification. The proposed budget may pose a hurdle for you to maintain that voting record. The electric and water fund budgets before you barely break even in covering the cost of service with the rate increases as proposed. By charter, the utility is to remain self-supporting from a financial standpoint by maintaining adequate rates and charges. Therefore, the utility is not to be budgeted to lose money, and without the upcoming rate increases as proposed, it would be. This is a first under Ron Davis. When it comes to budget adoption vote next week, in my opinion, you should be roundly criticized for willfully ignoring the city charter if you choose to tell your constituents you are voting against the adoption of this budget because, 1, you oppose an electric rate increase caused by the added cost of a state renewable energy mandate, or 2, you oppose a water rate increase that is necessary to meet the fund's financial requirement in the face of rising costs and uncertain water deliveries, and enables BWP to pay its debt service for increased reservoir storage. Should you choose to take either or both opposing stance, as mayor, you will knowingly be disregarding the charter provisions that protect the financial integrity of the utility. BWP's financial integrity, preserved by the proposed rate increases, is essential for the city to meet the legislatively mandated environmental protection laws governing emissions and to take whatever protective measures it can to mitigate the severity of drought conditions for residents.
Thank you, Mr. Olson.